After an 11-year-long relationship, Jason said he would give me a wedding of the century. But 3 days before the wedding, I received an anonymous email. The photo showed Jason and a girl holding a marriage certificate together. The girl was smiling brightly, and Jason looked at her with deep affection. The caption read, "I'm coming back." I took the photo to ask Jason, and he replied casually, "It's true." Celine decided she won't get married in this lifetime, but she wanted to experience the feeling of getting a marriage certificate once. I was just helping out a little. I remember the day he proposed. I happily sent out hundreds of messages to everyone, foolishly announcing that I was getting married. If you're not satisfied, then cancel the wedding. After all, I don't have to marry you. I'm marrying. The wedding will go on as planned, but it will be a solo performance. Fine, then prepare well. Celine's flight is today, I'll pick her up. There's also her welcome dinner tonight. You can try on the wedding dress yourself. Jason smiled indifferently, his face showing obvious expectation. He was certain that no matter what, I wouldn't give up on him. That's right, these 11 years of love have always been me chasing after him, giving up my dream university and the job I desired for him. I didn't even get to see my parents one last time. He was probably long used to this, me willing to do anything for him. Even if he has registered his marriage with Celine, I should still continue to marry him without hesitation. By the way, you have to go to the welcome dinner tonight. Celine specifically told me that she hasn't seen you in a long time and wants to meet you. I'll send you the address later, just go there directly after trying on the wedding dress. Jason adjusted his cuffs in front of the dressing mirror, glanced at me, and said, "He and Celine have been recognized as the perfect couple since childhood. When they played house, they were the prince and princess, and I was the servant attending to them. Since childhood, he has been the brightest and most untouchable light in my eyes. If Celine hadn't gone abroad early, it probably wouldn't have anything to do with me. Celine did care about me, she specially sent me an email before coming back. But this time, unlike before, I didn't agree to everything Jason said without hesitation. I have something to do today, I can't go." "You have something to do?" Jason's raised lips dropped. What could you possibly have to do? "Packing up. Leaving here." My words were interrupted by Jason. "Summer. Can you stop making a fuss? You lie without even bothering to find a better excuse. You have to show up tonight, I've already promised Celine. She can face you calmly, so don't be so petty." "She can calmly face me, isn't it because I am magnanimous?" But there's no use saying more. Jason wouldn't listen anyway. Until he left, I didn't speak again. I kept thinking about how I should explain to Grandpa that I don't want to marry Jason anymore. The call was quickly answered. Grandpa's voice came through. "Summer. Grandpa, the small company you mentioned before, are you still willing to give it to me?" "Summer, you're not getting married?" "Yes." I was worried about how to explain it, but Grandpa said, "All right, Grandpa always keeps his word, wait until you come back." After hanging up the phone, I canceled the appointment with the bridal shop clerk and began packing my things. The house belonged to Jason. I moved in a year ago after he proposed to me. That period was the happiest time of my life. When Jason proposed, he said, "Summer, I can move forward without hesitation because I know you are behind me. After 10 years, I want to give you a stable home. Will you?" Of course I said yes, and the next day I moved in here, carefully decorating the home Jason and I shared. Watching it transform from empty to full of warmth, I felt indescribably satisfied. But looking back, there was almost nothing prepared just for myself, and now, none of it matters anymore. I took out a large trash bag and packed in the ornaments I bought for Jason, the couple's items he never used, the double happiness character decorations meant for the new house 3 days later, and the wedding photos we took but had been shoved to the very bottom of the wardrobe. Halfway through tidying up, the doorbell suddenly rang. 2 people dressed in black professional attire stood at the door, holding notebooks. "Are you Miss Celine?" I twitched the corner of my lips. "I'm not. If you're looking for her, you can come back in a few days." Once I leave, this place should become Jason and Celine's home, or maybe they'll dislike that I lived here and decide to move somewhere else. But none of this has anything to do with me anymore. Is there anyone at home? We contacted Miss Celine through the homeowners group before. Today we need to do a fire safety inspection. Contacted Celine through the homeowners group? I've lived here for a year and have never heard of any homeowners group. Besides, why would Celine be in the homeowners group? Yeah, according to the property ownership registration, the owner of 1201 is Mr. Jason and Ms. Celine, right? Are you their friend or? The two property staff looked at me with a subtle change in their expressions. At that moment, I was dressed in casual home clothes, looking nothing like a guest. And I had no intention of thinking about what they were thinking. I felt as if the top of my head had been lifted off, and my body was filled with cement. I couldn't think, couldn't breathe. I thought I was living in Jason's home. I even considered this place our future love nest. But the truth was, I was living in a home that belonged to both Jason and Celine. Ridiculous. I just felt that all of this was so absurd it left me gasping for air. Sorry, this is not her home, please leave. I pushed the two of them out, quickly closed the door, and the next moment, I could no longer hold on. I crouched down against the door and buried my head in my arms. Since I was 18, I have been following Jason around, running through various cities at home and abroad for 10 years. It was only a year ago that he proposed to me and things settled down. But today I found out that on the very day I foolishly announced to the world that I was going to marry Jason, he was at the Civil Affairs Bureau registering his marriage with Celine. And the apartment I have lived in for a year has both their names on the lease. They are the legitimate, lawful couple. So what does that make me, someone who has been in a relationship with him for 11 years? I frantically rummaged through everything in the house like a madwoman, and finally found that dark red property deed in Jason's study. At that moment, the phone started ringing loudly, over and over again. I don't know how many times it rang before I finally stiffly answered. Why did you just answer the phone? Didn't I tell you to come to the welcome party? Where are you? Summer, I just got off the plane. I've missed you so much, hurry up and come. Two names were neatly arranged on the property deed, overlapping with the voice coming through the receiver. It forcefully dominated my vision and hearing. It felt as if a needle had been plunged into the depths of my eyes, stirring a blur before me. After the call ended, Jason sent over a dozen messages urging me. I listlessly tidied up the mess in the room, changed my clothes, and went out. If he wants to see me that badly, then I'll go. When I pushed open the private room door, it was lively inside. I kiss. I kiss. A group of people clapped and shouted, paying no attention to me. Jason chuckled helplessly, gently wrapped his arm around Celine's shoulder, and placed a deep, tender kiss on her lips. Celine shyly and passively accepted it the whole time, and the atmosphere in the room instantly soared to its peak. I thought I would feel sad, jealous, or rush over to separate them when I saw this scene. But in reality, I was eagerly taking photos with my phone, even studying which angle would best capture the ambiguous atmosphere. But suddenly, Celine in the frame turned her face, looking towards me in panic, and pushed Jason away. Summer, you're here. Don't misunderstand, we were just playing a game. I lost earlier, so that's why. Jason, you better explain to Summer quickly. Okay, she said, gently tugging on Jason's sleeve. Jason still had a trace of red on his lips, his expression indifferent. Celine lost the game, so I gave a little help. The same words again. A little help, helping to get the certificate, helping to kiss. Does that mean next time it will be helping to go to bed, helping to have a child? I smiled, I understand. Jason frowned, seemingly not understanding my casual tone, as if he wanted to say something more, but Celine stepped forward and pulled me along. Come on, we haven't seen each other for years, we have to have a good chat. Whether intentional or not, she pulled me to sit between her and Jason. Every time she asked me a question, she would lean over to ask Jason's opinion. Jason would always answer patiently. The looks from the others in the private room were intriguing, as if they saw me as an obstacle standing between the two of them. My very existence was unreasonable. Celine, you suddenly came back this time. Could it be that you found out Jason is getting married and came back to steal him away? Someone finally spoke up, as if they couldn't stand it any longer. Celine's sweet voice carried a hint of reproach. Don't say such things. There's nothing between Jason and me. Who doesn't know you two are legally married? That Facebook post back then spread all over the circle. Exactly, and everyone knows Jason likes you. As long as you nod, what business do others have? Right, Jason? They spoke recklessly, even with a hint of deliberate provocation. These people grew up shipping the two of them as a couple, and they've never been able to accept the fact that Jason is dating me. It was like this before. The only time I joined them for a meal as Jason's girlfriend, I was confronted directly, asked how I could possibly compare to Celine, and how I dared to shamelessly pursue Jason. That day I caused a scene, and after that, Jason never took me to any events again. But this time I felt nothing inside. I smiled along with everyone else and looked at Celine. He was just waiting for you to nod. As long as you nod, you'll be the bride at the wedding 3 days from now. Everyone looked at me as if I were crazy, even Celine couldn't hide the momentary surprise in her eyes. But Jason's face darkened as he snapped, Summer. What nonsense are you talking about? I'm not talking nonsense, I said calmly, speaking very seriously. Jason suddenly stood up from the sofa, grabbed my wrist, and dragged me out of the private room. Summer, are you sick? Sick? Maybe I was before, but now I'm fine. Before I could say anything, Grandpa called me. I shook off Jason's hand and answered the phone. Summer, have you bought the plane ticket? Which day is it for? I have, Grandpa, the night after tomorrow. After chatting with Grandpa for a few more sentences, I finally hung up the phone. Jason's narrow phoenix eyes stared at me intently. What plane ticket? Are you going out? No, Grandpa is coming to attend the wedding and asked if I had bought the ticket, I replied casually. Jason didn't doubt it at all and frowned. Don't cause any more trouble today. I'll talk to my parents and ask them to attend our wedding. Listening to his tone, as if it were a favor, I felt none of the anticipation or happiness I used to have. It just seemed ridiculous. For him and me to have a wedding, and for me to stop digging into his affair with Celine, only then might his parents come to attend. The Song family comes from a scholarly and cultured background, both my parents work in education, and Jason is no different. But my family is in business, and the Song family has always looked down on my origins. Over the years, I don't know how many gifts I've sent to the Song family, and I've spent more time with his parents than with my own. But it was all in vain. Deep down, they are unwilling to associate with someone like me. Now I know when to retreat, and they no longer have to awkwardly accept the things I send. Alright, I'll head back first. Have a good time. Let me see you off. For some reason, Jason suddenly became patient with me. In the past, if I wanted him to give me a ride, I had to ask several days in advance, and there was a good chance he would forget. The car stopped at the entrance of the community. He got out and helped me open the door, his palm resting on my head to prevent me from bumping it. I remained silent the whole time, but when the car lights behind illuminated the road ahead, my heart still burned hot. Could it be that he does care about me a little? Even if it's just a little, it's still something. But at that moment, a message suddenly popped up on my phone, a screenshot from Facebook taken a year ago. Their profile pictures were side by side. On the day Jason proposed to me, they successively posted photos of their marriage certificate. Celine captioned it, "With you, life is complete." Jason wrote, "As long as you want, as long as I have it." The comments below were all blessings, but I had never seen this Facebook post from Jason before. And all these years, Jason never posted anything about me on Facebook. We share the same social circle. Could it be that when I was telling everyone about Jason's proposal to me, everyone else had already seen their Facebook post? I was like a clown, performing for everyone. The heart that was just warm and burning felt as if it had been poured with a basin of icy water mixed with ice shards. Cold and painful. But at that moment, I was doused with cold water, and someone shouted, "She is the other woman. Everyone, get her. Tear her apart." An overwhelming wave of pain engulfed me. I didn't know how many people surrounded me, throwing all kinds of foul-smelling trash at me. They kept shouting to beat the other woman, claiming to uphold justice. I had no way to resist, nor could I tell from which direction the objects were coming. I could no longer hear any other sounds. It seemed as if the world was filled with man-eating demons, baring their fangs, ready to drag me to hell. "Stop." After what felt like a century-long moment, I finally heard Jason's voice. The tightly stretched string in my mind suddenly snapped, and I instantly lost all consciousness. When I opened my eyes again, I saw the hospital's snow-white ceiling. The shame of that moment seemed to hit me all over again. I gasped for breath before turning to look at Jason. He was no longer as clean and tidy as before. His thin lips moved slightly as he said, "I'm sorry." I didn't know if he was apologizing because I, his official girlfriend, was treated like a mistress and beaten into the hospital, or because he was sorry for letting me live in the house he shared with Celine. But no matter how much I tried to hold back, tears in my eyes flowed down my temples into my hair, and no matter how much Jason wiped, they wouldn't dry. At first, he was still composed, but later he became a bit flustered, his tone full of helplessness. "Please don't cry, okay? This really caused you to suffer unfairly. I'll find a way to make it up to you." I raised my hand to cover my eyes and asked him with a nasal tone, "Compensation? How do you plan to compensate?" "We'll just have a grander wedding, will that do?" The tears that had been pouring suddenly stopped as if a dam had been closed. Not a single drop could fall, and I even felt like laughing. After laughing, I said softly, "Jason, let's cancel the wedding." "Don't say things in anger," he said, his tone deepening. I thought he must be feeling that I was being unreasonable right now. "I am. Seriously." Before I could finish, Jason's phone rang, a ringtone different from the usual ones I heard. I didn't know what was said on the call, but he looked conflicted and glanced at me. "You take good care of her, I have something to deal with here and can't come over now." After hanging up, Jason pressed his lips. "Stop overthinking, rest well, I'll stay here with you." As expected, Jason kept his word, making 3 more calls afterward but still didn't leave my hospital room. He was attentive in serving tea and water. But my mind was in turmoil, too distracted to enjoy his rare thoughtfulness. Until I was drifting off to sleep, my phone suddenly vibrated repeatedly by my pillow. A message from an unknown number. "You think he's taking care of you because he's worried about you, that he has feelings for you? Take a good look." Next came several group chat images from the neighborhood property management group. Someone posted my photo, with the words "the mistress," damn her whole family photoshopped on it. Even bolder, someone tagged Celine and told her, "Your husband is cheating, and this is the mistress." Celine didn't explain, she just sent a broken heart emoji. The group erupted into a barrage of insults against me. I never knew that words could hurt someone so deeply. In the end, Jason still had a bit of conscience left and finally couldn't stand it, saying, "She's not the mistress." But his statement not only failed to turn the situation around, it made the insults from the group even more intense, and they started plotting to teach me a lesson. Some even bluntly asked Jason, "If I'm not the mistress, then what is Celine?" It eventually escalated to asking him, "So who is really your wife, Celine or me?" The last sentence in the picture was Jason's reply, "Of course, the property certificate has my wife's name on it." I just felt a chill all over my body, trembling uncontrollably. No wonder he acted so unusually and insisted on taking me home. No wonder he took Celine's call and still decided to stay with me. It turns out that this whole disaster of mine originated from him. My 11 years of pursuit and companionship only earned me him personally stepping in to accuse me of being the other woman. I thought I no longer cared, that no matter what he did, I would remain calm and indifferent. But at this moment, it felt as if a fire had ignited in my chest, burning with a madness that could consume everything. At that moment, Jason came in from outside the ward. I stared at him without blinking. "Jason." Summer, Celine is being treated for alcohol poisoning with a stomach pump. I'm going to check on her. You listen and rest well. Jason, stop. Maybe he didn't notice my change in mood, or maybe he did but simply didn't care. He furrowed his brows, his tone cold and chilling. What more do you want? I've been with you for so long already, aren't you satisfied? Celine's condition is critical, I don't have time to mess around with you. After saying that, he didn't wait for my consent and strode out of the ward. The ward door was shut tight, just like how I had been chasing after Jason all along, yet he had locked me out of his heart, not letting in a single ray of light. The blazing fire in my chest was instantly extinguished. I smiled silently, slowly lay back on the hospital bed, and tucked the blanket around myself. Soon, very soon, it would be over. After Jason left, I didn't see him until the next day. But I held no expectations for him, being alone was comfortable. Not long after, I received a message from Celine. Shall we make a bet to see if your wedding will take place as scheduled? I smiled and casually replied, no need to bet, the wedding will be lively. Alright then, I'll be waiting to see your lively event. I turned off my phone and didn't respond further. I got a certificate from the doctor, completed the discharge procedures, and then went to the police station to file a report. Even if Jason personally came to beat me, those people had no right to punish me. I never went back to that house and checked into a hotel room. I didn't receive any calls from Jason until I boarded the return flight. By the time I got off the plane, it was already evening. As soon as I turned on my phone, it rang. It was Jason. Summer, you should have been discharged and back home by now, right? I wasn't surprised that Jason knew I had been discharged and was home. I also knew very well that this wasn't a caring question. After all, given how much I used to value our wedding, as long as I was able to move, I would definitely show up at the wedding on time. Jason never doubted this. I gave him a few evasive answers and hung up. When I turned around, I saw my grandfather with graying hair, looking even older than the last time I saw him. My throat felt sour, my voice choked. Grandpa. Hey. Don't cry, Grandpa is here to take you home, what a happy thing. Grandpa's voice carried a smile, but his eyes were also tinged with a hint of moisture. When my parents died in a car accident years ago, Jason and I were stuck abroad. By the time we returned, my parents had already been buried. I didn't even want to forgive myself, but Grandpa never blamed me and comforted me for a long time, encouraging me to pursue my own happiness. Looking back now, I realize how selfish I was. October 20th, an auspicious day for marriage. The wedding date was chosen after consulting several masters. When I asked Jason for his opinion, he said, anything is fine. Hearing those two words then, I was full of hope, never imagining that this relationship and the wedding would be the end. On the night before the wedding, I stayed up beautifully, watching 3 movies. Until dawn, I set my phone to silent, found the most comfortable position in bed, and fell into a deep sleep. Today's wedding is destined to be Jason's solo performance. I wonder how he will react when he finds out that I'm gone. I only realized after waking up that my phone, which I had set to silent last night, had been knocked into automatic shutdown. Jason's calls were the most numerous, so many that I couldn't even tell how many there were. Then there were calls from his parents, his friends, and some unknown numbers. I ignored them all and had a proper lunch with my grandfather before seeing the public opinion fermenting online. Someone at the wedding venue recorded a video and uploaded it online. Above are the videos I prepared along with some chat photos. Celine, the top girl group star who returned from abroad, was labeled as the one who ruined someone's wedding and was subjected to widespread online abuse. The call to Jason was answered instantly, a treatment that hadn't happened in 11 years. But over there, no one seemed to know what they were doing, it was complete chaos. Summer. I'm not deaf, I can hear you. Do you know what you're doing? Do you know how much face I lost today? The wedding was supposed to be yours, I even invited my parents, and yet you made me a laughingstock in front of everyone. You should be very clear, they never agreed to our marriage in the first place. Now that things have blown up like this, have you thought about how to resolve it? I don't care where you went, be back within half an hour, explain this matter to me properly. And issue a statement to clarify, apologize to Celine, and restore her reputation. I placed the phone on the garden chair, letting Jason vent. I used to truly listen to every word he said. He spoke little, and I could fill in a lot myself. But now I don't want to listen anymore, and yet he has started to go on at length. It wasn't until the other side of the phone repeatedly called my name that I picked up the phone again. This time, I didn't let him speak. Jason, the wedding is something I wanted to have, but that was under the premise that I didn't know you had already registered your marriage with Celine. I wanted to give our 11 years of relationship a good ending. But now that I know, there is no good ending. Just consider that I fed the dog for 11 years. So I'm just doing a good deed by letting you two be. The guests have all been invited. You can completely have the wedding with Celine on the spot. What dissatisfaction do you still have? By the way, don't call me anymore. Let's just pretend we never met. After saying this, I hung up and immediately blocked everyone related to Jason. From then on, he and I had nothing to do with each other anymore. Jason looked at the disconnected call, tried calling again, but couldn't get through. He persistently called several more times, but it was the same. Suddenly, a feeling of panic arose in his heart. In his memory, the calls he made to Summer never took more than 10 seconds to be answered, let alone being unreachable like now. It was only at this moment that Jason belatedly realized how sweet Summer's voice was through the receiver. He didn't bother dealing with the chaotic wedding scene and didn't notice that many people had already recorded videos and posted them online. Snatching a brother's phone nearby, he called Summer, but just like before, no answer at all. The tension in his heart seemed to ease a little. Still unreachable, could it be that something really held her up over there? Jason, sob. Summer has gone too far. Those things of hers were all edited. You know, I have no feelings for you. How could I possibly send her emails with those provocative words? If I had feelings for you, what does she have to do with it? Her making a scene today is really so immature. She's made both uncle and aunt, and you, a laughingstock. You have to make her come back and apologize to uncle and aunt in person. Otherwise, she absolutely cannot be forgiven. Celine's tearful voice rang in his ear, but for the first time, he didn't immediately try to comfort her. Having been together for 11 years, he knew very well what kind of person Summer was. She was attentive and serious, had a strong ability to learn, and pursued perfection in everything. She was also sincere with others and never lied. He still remembered that when he agreed to be her boyfriend, she smiled with her eyes crescent-shaped and said, "Jason, even though I was the one who chased you, I still have one request for you." That is, you can't lie to me, whether it's a white lie or a malicious one. I hate lies the most, and that applies to you as well. All right. At the time, he thought it was just about not lying. But after telling one lie, he ended up using countless lies to cover it up, yet no matter how he tried, he couldn't make it right. This time, he was the one who was wrong. Jason. Did you hear me? What about Summer? When is she coming to apologize? Jason did not answer Celine. When? 2 days should be enough. By then, he would help her plead with her parents so they wouldn't blame her. But after 2 days, Summer was still unreachable. Then Jason thought, no need for her to apologize, just as long as she comes back quickly. Another 3 days passed, and the person he had been hoping for still hadn't appeared. He even started having hallucinations, waking up every morning and rushing out of the room, feeling as if Summer was in the kitchen making breakfast for him. Then he realized that the once warm and cozy room had suddenly become empty. Jason searched everywhere, not knowing what was missing, yet it felt as if everything was gone. Saying goodbye to Jason was a week later, in a way I never expected. My best friend was video calling me from a bar, inviting me to drink. As I was refusing, the screen suddenly switched to Jason's face. "Summer, you come find me, I'm waiting for you here." This was a new line. Before, it was always me waiting for him, but now he had his turn to wait for me. Sorry, we're not close, who are you? Summer, stop messing around, okay? It's been a week, you haven't answered my calls or Facebook messages. What exactly do you want? I flew here early in the morning, but didn't even get to see you. Now I only have 3 hours left, and there's a project waiting for me over there. His slightly tired voice was cut off as I ended the video call. This sentence used to work extremely well on me because I was afraid of delaying his work, so I always compromised and accommodated. But now, what does any of that have to do with me? I am no longer the Summer who once centered everything around Jason. Later, I heard from my best friend that Jason sat alone in the bar for 3 hours, coldly rejecting more than a dozen women who approached him, and finally slammed the door as he left the bar. I shrugged indifferently. Jason's time is precious. To waste a whole day on me and wait for me for 3 hours is such a tremendous favor, but it's a favor I don't want. From then on, I devoted myself entirely to taking over the small company my grandfather left me to practice with. What I'm grateful for now is that although I followed Jason around for so many years without my own career, I never neglected my studies. In those unfamiliar places, during the days when I hoped Jason would say a few more words to me, I had no familiar circle, no stable job, and self-study was the only thing I could do. Now, using these skills at work has saved me a lot of effort and left me no time to dwell on how foolish I was over the past decade or so. After the first decision to sign a client for the company, I invited the employees to a dinner. Just as we sat down, I received a video call. It was a friend of Jason's, one of the few I hadn't deleted. On a whim, I answered. On the screen was Jason lying on the sofa in a dimly lit private room. His sharp facial features seemed even more defined than before, and the subdued lighting couldn't hide his noble aura. But to my eyes, this face that once haunted my dreams was now just SOSO. Summer, Jason got drunk, go pick him up. The tone was naturally commanding and condescending, as if I were Jason's maid, always ready to serve him. Jason is drunk, you should go find Celine. Isn't it because he only kept calling your name? Are you satisfied now? Jason has you in his heart. The camera zoomed in on Jason's face, his cheeks flushed, and he seemed to be murmuring something. Jason has a special constitution. Whenever he drinks too much, his whole body turns red and he feels uncomfortable all night without sleeping. I used to stay awake to take care of him, but I never had that obligation. But I no longer have him in my heart. Even if he died, it wouldn't matter to me. Are you feeling entitled, Summer? If you don't take the chance to step down now, don't come back crying and begging. None of you as friends will respond. Shut up. You're not allowed to say Summer. The phone on the other end seemed to have been knocked to the ground, and Jason's drunken voice came through the receiver, along with a chaotic noise. This was the first time Jason spoke up to defend me. In the past, he not only watched coldly but also thought that no one liked me and that I was the problem. At that time, I was fighting alone, facing thousands of enemies ahead. Now that I have reinforcements, the original Summer had long since died in that chaotic war. I hung up the phone, ate, and then followed them to another place to hang out. Feeling the vibrant, lively people around me, I finally felt that I was truly alive again. But I didn't know that someone had taken a photo of me and sent it to Jason. After that day, I hadn't heard any news about Jason for a long time. Celine also kept a low profile after the online storm last time, unlike when she first returned to the country, when she was trending every day. I spent most of my days working, and the rest of the time was spent walking and chatting with my grandfather. In just one short month, I gained more than I had in the past 10+ years. The peace and contentment in my heart were something I had never experienced before. But whenever I passed by the wedding dress shop window, I still thought of the wedding dress I had designed for 3 years, revised more than 10 times, yet never saw the finished product, a lingering regret. But all that has passed is an important part of my life. Whether good or bad, I have learned to accept it calmly. When I received the call from my assistant, I was reviewing the bid proposal I had worked on through 3 long nights. Grandpa had assigned me the task. If I could win this bid, I could move up to the headquarters. Summer, the lab just sent a notice. we've been disqualified from participating." My assistant's voice was choked with tears. Everyone knew how much I valued this bidding process. The entire company was working hard for it. Now that we were 99% of the way there, to suddenly have it collapse was truly hard to accept. Did they say why? They said our qualifications aren't sufficient. If the qualifications were inadequate from the start, we wouldn't have passed. This last-minute notice is clearly a deliberate obstacle. But my assistant and I had been running around for a week, and with the bidding meeting starting tomorrow, we still hadn't even met the person in charge on their side. My little assistant, sporting huge dark circles under her eyes, hesitantly asked me, "Summer, what do we do now? We've tried every possible way, there's nothing left but." "Summer." It's a call from the lab director. When I was sitting in the other party's reception room with my assistant, I was still a bit puzzled. I had clearly been disqualified, so why did they suddenly call and say they wanted to meet and talk? Wow. So handsome, I haven't seen this researcher in their files before. My assistant Emily's amazed tone pulled me out of my thoughts. Following her gaze, I saw someone who shouldn't have been there. Jason. Dressed in lab overalls, but he wore them like a model on a runway. "Hello, can I have a private chat with your Summer?" Emily left the meeting room with a love-struck smile on her face. "Summer." I said nothing, looking at Jason across from me. He was a top researcher at the Institute in Haishur, with all resources directed solely towards him, and a bright future ahead. I really couldn't understand why he suddenly came here. "I've already told them, this bid is set to go to your company." "What do you mean?" "Summer, I came here from the Haishur Institute just to help you. I've thought a lot during this time. For so many years before, you were the one following me, now it's my turn to chase after you. I hope you can see my sincerity and accept me again." He spoke earnestly, his eyes full of seriousness. I actually laughed out loud. "You want me to accept you, to be your mistress alongside Celine? If you mind, I'll take care of it." "I don't mind." "Summer." "Stay away from me, Jason, just seeing you makes me feel sick." I stood up from the sofa, took a step forward, but Jason grabbed my wrist. "Summer, can you please listen to me? You weren't like this before." "Before? What was I like before, Jason? Do you really remember? In your eyes, I was probably just your free babysitter, a shameless burden trailing behind you. Why would you think that? If I really felt that way about you, I would have proposed. I would want to marry you." "Propose? You made me look like a fool, announcing to the world that you proposed to me, then rejecting the Facebook post I edited for you for 2 hours, and turning around to post a photo of your marriage registration with Celine along with vows? That is, what is it? You were the one who let me move into the house with your and Celine's names on it, then personally claimed I was the third party between you two, causing me to be beaten and insulted? I'm sorry. 11 years, Jason, my heart and eyes were full of you. Even if I were raising a dog, after so many years it would wag its tail at me, not bite me. But you? You're not even as good as a dog." I didn't look at his pale face and opened the door to leave the reception room. Emily and the head of the lab were both standing at the door, probably having overheard my conversation with Jason. Their expressions were very subtle. "Let's go." "Ah." Emily responded quickly, and only after getting into the car did she carefully pull out a tissue for me. "Summer, wipe your tears." Only then did I realize my face was covered in tears without me noticing, and even the brown suit I was wearing was soaked in one spot. I leaned on the steering wheel for a long time before finally letting out a long sigh. Let's give up on this project. All right, Summer. But as I drove out of the lab's underground parking lot and turned the corner, I saw Jason. If it weren't for Emily shouting out, I might have crashed into him. What should I do? Jason was blocking my only way through, showing no intention of moving, but several cars were already stuck behind us. Horns blared one after another. "Jason, what exactly are you trying to do?" This just didn't seem like something he would do. He used to care a lot about his dignity, stopping cars in the street and blocking traffic was something he thought only a rogue would do. But now, he went along without a word, not even raising an eyebrow. Summer. It was my fault before, give me a chance, can we start over? He stood in front of the car, his expression stubborn. I rolled up the window, released the handbrake, and pressed the accelerator. Emily, sitting in the passenger seat, screamed in shock, but inside, I felt nothing. The car suddenly surged forward, but Jason in front still didn't dodge or flinch, his deep, bottomless black eyes staring straight at me. He probably thought I wouldn't hit him. In the past, I really couldn't bear to see him get hurt. Every time he had a scrape, I was the one who hurt the most. But now, it's different. The car moved forward steadily. Emily kept shouting at me to stop in fear. I ignored her. At the moment the car was about to hit Jason, he was suddenly tackled by Celine, who leapt at him from the side. The car sped by, and in the rearview mirror, I could still see Celine and Jason rolling together by the roadside. He stubbornly looked in the direction I was leaving, and the usually calm and deep look in his eyes finally showed some cracks. I turned the steering wheel, and the two figures in the rearview mirror disappeared along with it. Woo-woo. Summer, you scared me to death. If someone hadn't tackled him down, you would have hit him. It was so scary, woo-woo. No, I wouldn't. Ah. I smiled and didn't explain further. Coming out of the underground garage, I saw Celine hiding to the side. She wouldn't just watch Jason get hit by me. Such a good opportunity to show herself off, I believe she wouldn't miss it. After this incident, I thought Jason would probably give up. Jason, who had been proud and refined since childhood, had never been so slighted by anyone. He probably never wanted to see me again. But I didn't expect the laboratory to send an email to the company saying we had won the bid. The bid documents were probably left in the laboratory's reception room last time and handed over by Jason. Or, as he said, it was already predetermined. Emily, reply to them and say that our company is undergoing internal restructuring, so we cannot complete this project. Apologize to them. Okay, Summer. Although this was a task assigned to me by my grandfather, I didn't want to have any connection with Jason anymore, so I could only go back and ask my grandfather to give me a different project. But I didn't expect to see two unexpected people at home. Summer. Jason's father, Jason's mother. Actually, when we were kids, our family had a pretty good relationship with the Song family. It was only later, when Grandpa gave up the education industry and went into business with Dad, that we gradually grew apart. In the eyes of the Song family, Grandpa was willingly degrading himself. But he relied on his own hands and wisdom to make life more comfortable for himself and his family. Who says what is noble and what is lowly? I used to not understand. I thought I could change their minds, but now I know, I can't. They and I are simply not the same kind of people. Grandpa smiled and chatted with me for a few moments, then told me that Mr. and Mrs. Song had come to see me about something. Uncle, Aunt, if you have something to say, just say it straight. Summer, your uncle and I have come to apologize to you this time. What happened before was Jason's fault. We've already talked to him, and he will proceed with the divorce from Celine. Jason's mother spoke more kindly than ever before, even apologizing to me. But, Summer, you also have your faults. My granddaughter, if she's wrong, I will teach her myself. When did outsiders get to meddle? Besides, what fault does she have? Grandpa slammed his cane heavily on the ground twice, cutting off Mrs. Song's words. Jason's parents were servants I called to drive them out. They left without looking back, clearly very angry. But Grandpa was so upset that his blood pressure rose, and he almost had to be hospitalized. I only found out after listening to them that they came to see me today because of Jason. He gave up a promising job in Haishur and came to Beijing to find me without permission. This was something Jason's parents couldn't accept. They think I don't know how to appreciate the situation, don't know when to stop, and am too willful. I used to hope that Jason's parents would, like many ordinary families before marriage, bring gifts to visit the bride's parents. but for such a simple and ordinary thing, they never came and never even thought about doing it. Now, their first visit was to come and demand an explanation. I dragged Jason's number out of the blacklist and called him. Summer. Jason, please tell your parents to stop coming to harass me, and please don't appear in my life anymore. Besides, you are already an adult and should be independent. I don't know whether Jason actually told his parents or not, but the ever-strong-willed Song couple simply couldn't stand the humiliation and didn't want to make things difficult for themselves. In any case, I never saw them again. Instead, it was Celine who came knocking. Summer, do you know that Jason has already fallen out with his family because of you? What good will come of this? It will only ruin his future. And do you think that by making a scene like this, you can win and still have happiness with Jason? You'll never get past his parents. Celine seemed much more haggard, her cheeks sunken and her eye sockets darkened. Perhaps the online backlash last time had a significant impact on her, or maybe she truly cared about Jason, which is why she couldn't bear to see his future harmed. Celine, on what grounds are you accusing me? Jason's wife? Or a thief who can't show her face? He's an adult, he'll consider his own future. Besides, that's his own business, what does it have to do with me? If you care so much about him, you should go persuade him, not come looking for me. Summer, don't pretend to be clueless when you clearly understand. Jason divorcing me is because of you. You're a disaster, anyone who gets involved with you ends up with nothing good. No wonder your parents, Bitch. How dare you hit me? I hit you, so don't come in front of me acting cheap again, or I'll hit you every time I see you. Summer. Go to hell. Celine suddenly lunged at me like a madwoman, using all her strength to push me into the traffic in the middle of the road. I dodged, but Jason, who appeared out of nowhere, pushed me away. He pushed me so hard that I fell to the ground, just as I heard the screeching of brakes and the sound of a collision behind me. When I received the call from the hospital, the family doctor was treating the abrasions on my arm. Hello, is this Summer? Yes, it is. It's like this, Jason's condition isn't good, but he refuses treatment and says he wants to see you once. Just, how presumptuous is that? Tell him whether he wants to get better or not. I hung up the phone and turned off my phone. I used to naturally put him first without needing him to say so, but now, I only feel that this is a form of coercion against me. Maybe Jason finally gave up, I haven't received any messages from him since. Even when I accused Celine of intentional harm, he didn't come out to defend her. But I heard Jason was seriously injured, with a traumatic brain injury, and his limbs will probably be uncoordinated in the future. For a high-tech researcher, this is a fatal blow. Jason's parents also hold a grudge against Celine and naturally won't tolerate Jason protecting her anymore. They even sent Celine back abroad. I heard that Celine offended a financial tycoon at the time and, not wanting to be retaliated against, she returned to the country to seek Jason's protection. It seems that a very exciting life still awaits her in the future. On the day I successfully entered the headquarters, my grandfather held a banquet for me. He officially announced that he would groom me as his successor. Looking at the guests raising their glasses to congratulate me, I finally felt like I was a living, breathing person. Perhaps everyone has to go through a painfully long process of trial and error to find the truly right path. The past, though long and painful, is after all just the past.